Okay. I'm setting my Apple Watch here for 10 minutes and I'm going to talk about getting out of my creative block. Yes, I stole this 10-minute thing from Daniel Thrasher. I think it's a good idea because I tend to go on way too long, but this is going to make me freak out. Time. That's an interesting thing. A lot of my creative block came down to time because I'm very sensitive to time being wasted. So if you watch that video about I'm creatively blocked, one of the biggest things that I discovered and what I'm trying to implement now is that I will not make a YouTube video if I think, if it were to fail meaning, not get X amount of views, however many views I think it should get, I wouldn't think the time was wasted making it. And that was an issue I was running into over and over where videos would not do well, at least not initially, and I would get very upset because I was like, I shouldn't have even bothered making that. Like it was a waste of hours of time to make that video, which indicated that it wasn't really me being creative. It was just me like trying to get something out to get a response from the audience rather than following some kind of creative impulse. And I'm not saying like I'm ever going to be purely just creative for my own whatever edification, but it was so far in the other direction that I just felt like I was, I might as well have been flipping burgers metaphorically. So there's like 5 steps that I might be able to get through in here. We're already past 2 minutes, but the first thing was identifying the issue, and I felt my issue was I felt like I was wasting time because I was too focused on the the audience, and the other thing is I'm just so sensitive now to wasted time. That's why I had to set this timer for 10 minutes because I can't spend any more time on it. I have such limited time and I feel like I can't get anything done. Like there is an actual limitation here where before I was a parent, I had like kind of just all my time was unstructured. I could work whenever I wanted to, and even if I was working the same amount of hours that I am now, they were like spread out. So I could wait till I felt like in the zone, and now it's like nope, you have this amount of time and that's it. So that's an issue. I have less usable hours, and so it's a premium. And when I spend minutes of time doing anything, if the outcome that I want isn't met, I feel like it was totally wasted, and I get upset. So I had to like change my mindset and be like, all right, you can't make videos anymore then if you're going to get upset if they don't do well. You have to only make videos that even if they don't do well, you're like, "Oh, that was still good." So it's about just shifting your mindset and identifying like why are you even doing this? Why even be creative? If you're the creative block perhaps is your mind's way of telling you, "Hey, just, you don't need to do this." Like you're stressing yourself out for no reason. Like figure out why you're doing it because there were times when you were the making art for only yourself and you could be engrossed in it all day and no one else even ever saw it. Like I've written stories, I've written an entire manuscript, I've written songs and stuff, didn't care that no one else was gonna hear it or see it. It didn't matter. Like my body's trying to tell me there was no stress involved in that and you wasted hours doing it for no return. Get back there. That's what you need to do. A creative block is in some ways trying to save you. Stress kills you. Like it releases cortisol, which shortens your lifespan. Creative blocks are trying to save your life. Look at it that way. So ask yourself, how am I killing myself with this? How do I get back to the point where creativity is not stressful? And then that's how you'll get it to flow. And that's the step 2 is step back, let go. I was spiraling out of control so much. I was getting so upset. I was like trying to be creative and then I couldn't be creative that I was like, okay, look, I'm just going to take a week where I don't do anything. Like if nothing, I'm not going to force anything. If nothing happens, nothing happens. And there was like a good week, maybe even 2 weeks where I just really didn't work because there was just nothing coming to me. I might have even gone a week without uploading a video, which is a long time for me because I was like, I'm not going to worry about it. I don't have a video. And that was after I decided I'm not working on a video unless I feel like the time wouldn't be wasted no matter the outcome, no matter the view count. And I was just like, okay, part of this is part of this test, not caving in, is letting myself not release a video if nothing is speaking to me. And that was very necessary for me to take a step back. And then that leads me to, you have to stick to that plan. You have to you identify the issue. You have to kind of formulate a plan of what am I going to do next. I wrote out a bunch of criteria that videos have to meet in order for me to work on them, and they cannot meet for me to work on them. And you have to stick to that. And what it came down to really is me believing in myself and doing stuff based on what I want to do, what I think is funny, what I find interesting, rather than what I think is going to get views. Now, it's more like a primary, secondary. It's not saying that the views go out the window. It's saying that that can't be the primary motivator anymore. And that's been tough. Like, there's always the temptation to just go back to the way it was, because that feels safe. The way it was feels like it worked at one point, so maybe I'll just try it again. I'm like, no, I have to do things the way that I told myself was wrong before. And even people around me have been giving me advice to basically do some of the things that I was doing before. Like, why don't you get advice from this person who is an expert? Why don't you do this or that, things that are smart. And I'm like, I can't do the smart thing anymore. I have to, even if those things are ultimately the right thing to do, I need to, like, cold turkey cut myself off from seeking some kind of validation from other people and assuming that they have the answers and I don't. They might have the answers and I don't, but it's a mental thing where I need to be like, nope, it's all on me now. That's it. That's been very difficult to stick to, but it's the only way I've been able to start to work my way out of the creative block, is not to be like, oh, those people have answers, let me ask them. I mean, I had to stop watching YouTube videos about how to make it on YouTube because I realized that's all I was watching. My YouTube was just YouTube advice, which it's not going to, a lot, let me not get into it. A lot of those advice things are great if you're trying to do specific things. They're not great for creativity. So it's like useless ultimately. Unless you'll get like one good piece of advice every once in a while, but I have to stop watching it. It just doesn't work because that's assuming other people know things I don't know. And it's like, ultimately I probably know more than those people. I just don't trust myself. Routine is the fourth thing. And this works two ways. You have to have a routine that you stick to that gets the creative stuff flowing, but you also have to know when to break your routine, because sometimes the routine just gets so rigid that nothing's happening. And it's good to like just spice things up, because sometimes that's when ideas hit you. And then lastly, going back to the YouTube videos, is feeding your mind with things that inspire your creativity, which that's been the hardest part. I haven't really done this as much as I should. And it was very telling to me because someone asked, like, what do you watch on YouTube for, like, entertainment? And I was like, nothing. I realized, like, I don't really watch YouTube for entertainment anymore. Like, honestly, I have gotten to a point where I don't know anything on YouTube that I really enjoy watching. Now, there are some creators that I enjoy watching, but it's, like, so few that I have maybe 30 minutes of content a week to watch, which might not be a bad thing, but I was just using YouTube to like watch stuff about how to be successful on YouTube. And it's like, no, I need to be looking at the creative side of things, or even just like the videos where it's maybe educational, but about something else. And I'm consuming it and the creativity of how do they present this material about whatever unrelated thing. And that's been the thing that's been tough for me to get into. But it's not just YouTube. In fact, maybe it's better to consume less YouTube as a YouTuber, or whatever artistic thing you're in, to consume other forms and bring those into what you're doing. But I still haven't done that. Like, this has really been the hardest part. Like, I don't read, I don't watch movies. I watched a couple TV shows that were more artistic. I watched The Bear, the TV series, and that's like cinematically very creative. and narratively. But other than that, there's not a lot. So that's the thing I've got to work on. And I think once I'm able to get into that, it's going to spark things a lot more. And that's how my 10 minutes are up. That's how I'm working on my creativity. That's how I'm getting my groove back. Thanks for watching.